and aerial activity for some time thereafter. Indeed, up to Thursday morning, some flights and vessels approaching Dominica had to abort because of adverse weather conditions. Nevertheless, we are up and running, and I'm happy to say aid has begun to flow into Dominica. As I speak with you this morning, there is tremendous amount of food and other relief supplies en route to Dominica from most of its OECS and CARIFM partners, as well as further afield in the United States, Canada, the UK, France, Venezuela, Cuba, Morocco, China, the United Arab Emirates, etc., etc., etc. As a matter of fact, we have 14 40-foot containers of food supplies and relief supplies in Antigua that will be shipped during the course of today to Dominica. These shipments will arrive over the course of the next few days, but we recognize that there is an acute urgency for food supplies in some districts and geographical regions. And I last night arranged for a few special layered charters from Barbuda today. Indeed, the first should be landing at Douglas Church Airport around 11 o'clock this morning. And those supplies will not be brought to Roseau, but will be directed straight to an impoverished area. I have requested Leah to keep these special relief flights going until the food situation has been brought under control with the arrival of the large vessels. Also, I'm aware that two massive schooners will be departing Barbados tomorrow, one bound for Roseau and another for Portsmouth. And these are laden with food and other supplies. Some donated by the government and the people of Barbados, and some purchased by the Dominica government in Barbados for and on behalf of our people. We have opened a line of credit with certain suppliers in Barbados, and they will keep the regular supply of food going until conditions here in Dominica have been regularized. I also want to say to you that in respect to water, the delivery of water, I think we're getting there. And there are currently two ships in port, one from the Dutch and one from the British, and they will be able to fill water trucks and other utensils so that we can truck those supplies to various communities, and residents can fill the utensils and other things that they could collect water from, so that we can have a bulk water supply to the communities. In respect to electricity, as of 4:30 p.m. yesterday, September 24, 2017, Dominic was 500 feet from PMH. Dominic expects to connect PMH by tomorrow, Tuesday, September 26, 2017. Simultaneously, work is ongoing to restore electricity to the Portsmouth Hospital. This week, work will continue on the Upper Goodwill feeder so that electricity could be restored to essential services and the stadium. And then once we connect essential services, we will look to connecting private properties as the hours go by. In respect to water and Duasco, work on Duasco's main supply at Antrim is ongoing. This system supplies water to consumers from Castle Comfort to Miro. Duasco expects the system to be functional by tomorrow evening, Tuesday, September 26th. Following this, an assessment of pipe will be undertaken. And this assessment has to be done to check to see where there are leaks, so that those can be corrected, because this is a massive catchment area. And the good thing we did prior to Maria was to shut down the system. So we do have water in those tanks, over 50,000 gallons of water in those tanks that we can supply our communities, especially the A1 water area for Roseau and environment. And so by shutting off all of the systems in Dominica before the hurricane, we have some potable water, but we have to check the lines. In respect to Bell's Penrise Sylvania water system, it is expected to be restored by tomorrow evening, Tuesday, September 26th. The water system servicing the Wesley Bushland area was extensively damaged. All new pipes installed following the passage of Tropical Storm Erica were lost. From the north end system that is in Marigot, the north end in Marigot, initial assessment determined that most of the pipes are intact. Equipment has been mobilized to create access. So once we create access to these pipes, put it to the source, we will connect north end covering the Marigot area. Assessment to the Portsmouth and Lapland systems are ongoing. And just to say to you, when I went to Bakers on Tuesday, the residents themselves moved to connect the pipes because they were washed away, and so Bakers has water based on the action taken by the residents of that community. Digicel, the 3 cell sites are operational, and there's coverage from Point Michel to Jimmet from Digicel, and they're pushing to get more coverage across the country, and they're bringing in more assets, more human resources to assist us in extending the communication system. Flow, the following cell sites have been restored: DBS, Roseau, Windsor Park, Canefield, and Mondani. However, coverage is available up to Kulibi Street. So it's a massive section of the country coverage by Flow and Digicel. Prior to the arrival of Hurricane Maria, the government of Dominica, in conjunction with several private sector individuals and companies, strategically deployed various types of heavy equipment, excavators, front-end loaders, backhoe, bobcats, you name it, along every major route around the country. Following the passage of Maria, work began immediately, and today I am pleased to report that the following areas are now accessible to vehicular traffic. 1, Melville Hall to Roseau via Canalago Territory, Castle Bruce, Pocasset, and through to the Canefield Imperial Road, or Sultan or Warner Road. Work is ongoing on the Nicholas Liverpool Highway, Pocasset to Hatton Garden via Bells, and should be accessible by the end of this week. 2, Melville to Portsmouth is clear, so you can drive from Melville to Portsmouth. 3, Eolibla Highway, Portsmouth to Roseau is accessible. However, 4-wheel drive vehicles are required to the Battley River crossing. Work to restore the Battley Bailey Bridge is ongoing and should be completed by the evening of Wednesday, September 27, 2017. 4, Raffon to Roseau is accessible. 5, Sari Lapley to Roseau. But there was a breakage in the crossing there at Sari. So that we have challenged them. Laplane to Whitaker is accessible. Good Hope to Roseau, accessible. Roseau to Fontany, Trafalgar Junction to Trafalgar, and Trafalgar Junction to Loda. The Roseau Valley Road, Loda to Roseau, and Trafalgar to Roseau will be open by the end of today. What the ministry did is that they were able to have heavy equipment placing a salt on this road, both ends. So they're meeting in the center, so, and then we should do that today. So we'll have the entire valley now accessible by road. Once the main valley road is open, clearing works begin to access communities on Mount Prosper and Wharton Way. Roseau to Wallhouse Junction is accessible, and Point Michel to Carrick to Sand and Stoke. Work is ongoing in the following areas: Fontany, Nicholas Liverpool Highway, Pocasset to Hatton Garden, Bellevue to Lubert, Granby to Bellevue, Battley Bailey Bridge, Roseau, Good Hope to Petit Souffre, and Roseau clearing the streets and get the debris out so that we create more access into all of the streets in Roseau. Fortney to Girodel, and work will begin today, Point Michel to Souffre, Emsor, Castle Comfort to Girodel, Whitaker to Dillis. Regards to Point Michel to Souffre, the gentleman has a major equipment there, he has diesel, it's there. We are sending an operator to come on there that heavy equipment so it can get into between Soufrière and Scott said for us, and also the Soufrière and Point Michel for us. So that those operating from Point Michel, they will meet at some point and to create access. I can also say to the country that we have located, and we're hoping that by this week we'll have some Bailey bridges into the country. One company had procured some for another country, and they have decided to make this available to us. So we're getting the specs, the lengths. Once we get that, we'll communicate with the company today, and the idea is to get a company to supply to us and come in themselves to assist in installing those Bailey bridges. So in Lubay where there's a breakage, in Sari where there's a breakage, we will put these Bailey bridges to improve access, albeit temporarily, to those communities. So what we're seeking to do is to launch a massive offensive on the distribution of food supplies and water to every single community. We're getting additional assets, helicopters. The Dutch are here, working very well. They're extending the stay. We're also getting additional help with helicopters, and they'll all be available. We are sending teams to Marigot to be physical in the ground, so that once we get the supplies, it should come almost literally from the planes to the helicopters and to the flatbed trucks and distribute to the people in massive ways. We'll be creating in the Roseau area and Barbuda area distribution points. What we're seeking to get from the residents is for us to be orderly. If we're orderly, you will get much quicker. If we rush, it's going to be a challenge. So we will stand in the line, we'll ensure that everybody gets some supplies as we go along. So yesterday we did a fantastic job in getting to many communities. We got to many communities yesterday to bring some supplies. We are attacking this from the air, we're attacking this from land, we're attacking it from the sea. So we're really trying to get as much supplies to people as possible. Also, the Americans are bringing in some temporary roofing cover. The intention there is to maybe focus on one community, maybe the Roseau, Gerald area, and so that people can have temporary covers over the homes, so they can go back into the homes and slip away from the natural elements. I really want to thank all of the people who've been volunteering. It's been small things because everybody in the country's home has been impacted. There's profound anxiety, but we have a core of people who've been coming in from Tuesday morning, working diligently to help every one of us in this country. So, for us to have been able to clear the roads already like this is exceptional, and telecommunication services and electricity to the hospital by today. So all teams are working, and we're getting volunteers to come in. We have a team of Palestinians located in Marigot full-time, 30 of them, providing water, providing medicine, providing hot meals to the residents of Marigot. So they're focusing exclusively on Marigot, and they're resident there for the next several days, supplying the residents of Marigot with food, warm meals, and really doing a fantastic job there. The medical teams have been exceptional under the circumstances, not having power at the hospital and being able to provide that level of care to our patients is exceptional. And it speaks to the character, it speaks to the resilience of our people, and that's what we need to do. Every one of us must get up. There's no time for complaining, there's no time for murmuring. We have to just get up and do as little as we can. If there's a sheet of galvanized in the middle of the road, if you take it out, it will help us. If you clear the streets, it will help us. The other thing we're going to be doing this week, and the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Public Works, who has been exceptional in helping us, we will be engaging teams of people, and they will be paid to help with the clearing. So we will go to communities, announce one will be there, so that we can solicit names of people who are interested in working in clearing the roads with pay. The UNDP, when I was in New York, committed $3 million to help with that. So they'll be paying some of the people for us to help clear the road, to create some employment, and so that people can be engaged and moving forward and so forth. So over the next several days, this country will have lots of food and supplies, and the intention is to get all of it to the people in the quickest possible way. But we have to be orderly. We have to be respectful of the authorities, because if the police have to be diverting their attention to bring orderliness, then it's an unnecessary distraction. Because I should be using all of the police officers we have in assisting with delivering supplies. But if they have to divert their attention to security issues, then it makes it much more difficult to reach us. Because really and truly, we should have the police officers handing out water, handing out food out there. But they cannot do that now because they have to address the security issue. We have the chief here first, the Chief Carbon, and I want to commend the police officers. You know, commend them. Sometimes we criticize them, but I can tell you these police officers have been exceptional. The majority of them lost homes. Some of them have not been able to go to their homes to see the situation, and they've been there before the hurricane, during the hurricane, and after the hurricane, and they continue to be there. And we have friends from the region, from the RSS, from Antigua, from Barbuda, from Jamaica, from Trinidad here, helping us, and all of them doing a fantastic job with us. As a matter of fact, we have Deputy Commissioner, Assistant Commissioner, Deputy Commissioner from Antigua, Rodney, who is a Portsmouth man, a Dominican man, and you have high rank in the Antigua Police Force there, and Antigua and Barbuda Royal Antigua and Barbuda Police Force and so forth. I forgot you are subject to the Queen, you know. But we're happy to be here, you know, for you guys here, and today we're gonna press on the roads. We're gonna keep pushing Dominic. Dominic is bringing additional assets here. They're really doing a fantastic job. We'll be pushing them. We're pushing Lime, we're pushing Digicel. I'm in touch with the managers there every single hour, you know, pushing them, pushing with the clearing of the roads, because once you get the roads cleared, we can bring supplies by all means to our people and so forth. And that is our intention here. But I just want all of us to understand that we have to be united in purpose. We have to do what we can in the circumstances, and the authorities will get to you at the appropriate time. So when we get to you, you'll already be mobilized, doing things for yourselves and for the rest of us and so forth. I will end here for now, and I will ask the chief, and so you'll direct who will speak on behalf of the forces to the general public in respect to the security of the state. Thank you.
Good morning. Let me acknowledge the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit. And to continue the protocol, I will set out the command and control structure of the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force. Present is Deputy Chief of Police, Mr. Davidson Valerie. Next, we have Superintendent Richmond Valentine, responsible for the Central Division. We have, next to him is Superintendent Joseph Williams, responsible for the Northern Division. Acting Superintendent Cleville Mills for the Southern Division. And we have our good friend, Deputy Chief of Police, Mr. Rodney, representing the RSS and the Royal Antigua and Barbuda Police Force. Mr. Valerie will speak on matters relating to crime, give an appreciation of the crime situation after the passage of Hurricane Maria. Mr. Valentine will speak on matters of ops. Mr. Joseph Williams will give us a brief overview of the situation in the Northern Division. Mr. Cleville Mills will give us a brief overview of the situation in the Southern Division. And Deputy Chief of Antigua, representing the RSS, will give us an overview of the RSS situation and the deployment of the RSS here. I must say that you can see that the command and the command and control structure of the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force is in order. I can also report that no police officer lost their life during the passage of Hurricane Maria. And that is very important. Having spoken about the command and control structure, that is very important too, because we know that the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force is mandated by law to maintain law and order, to prevent crimes, to protect lives and properties. Permit me please to give you a report on the death toll as a result of Hurricane Maria. We have had confirmed so far 27 deaths. Persons missing confirmed. "27 persons confirmed missing. And we also have an additional unconfirmed reports of 18 persons missing. On behalf of the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force, I would like to express my deepest condolences to the persons and families who lost their loved ones during the passage of Hurricane Maria. As it relates to the security situation in Dominica, I can report that immediately following the passage of Hurricane Maria, we have had, and that's a fact, we have had massive looting. Several business places in the city of Roseau, and to a lesser extent in the town of Portsmouth, had lootings. On the occasion, on the situation of the deployment of the regional forces, I can give a breakdown. We have 13 SSU personnel from the St. Lucia Police Force present on island, Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force. We have 25 sailors, 25 soldiers, and 10 airmen. They are responsible. The Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force personnel are now staged at the Deepwater Harbor, the main port, and they have been providing security and operations on the Deepwater Harbor. They are assisting with that. And obviously the airmen are assisting with distribution of supplies. Barbados Defense Force. We have 27 soldiers from the Barbados Defense Force. Royal Antigua and Barbuda Defense Force, we have 6 personnel on island. RSS, Regional Security System, we have 30 officers on island, and Mr. Rodney, the Deputy Commissioner, is responsible for the overall supervision of these officers. We expect an additional 15 SSU personnel from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and we are expecting very soon to be on island 120 defense forces from the Jamaica Defense Force. They should be there shortly. As I said earlier, the Trinidad Defense Force is responsible for operations on the Deepwater Harbor. They're securing the port. And there is some rumor circulating that the ports in Dominica are not safe. I wish to dispel that rumor. That is not true at all. We have had a Dutch contingent together with the Trinidad Defense Force providing security for the port. We have the Roseau Fisheries Complex. We have our local officers together with the overseas deployment assisting us with that security. And so the ports in Dominica are very secure. I can't give you an up-to-date report, but Mr. Williams will tell you what the situation is with Longhouse and the Carib cruise ship berth. Cambridge cruise ship berth, sorry. Crime, as it relates to the passage of Hurricane Maria, we have had 40 arrests in criminal matters, and we have had 86 arrests in violation of the curfew. I must tell you also that overnight, we've had a breakout at the prison of 4 prison officers. 3 of them were on remand. Prisoners, sorry. 3 of them were on remand and 1 was serving a term. We have captured 2 so far. They were encountered last night. 2 of them were shot, and they are now undergoing treatment at the Princess Margaret Hospital. One of them, which was of very concern to us, was on a murder charge on remand, but is now nursing his injury at the Princess Margaret Hospital. Yesterday, we had an incident where somebody tried to loot J.R. Stephens and Company Limited on Curfew Street, the supermarket. That person was encountered by the police, and he was also shot because he was armed with a weapon. He too is undergoing treatment at the Princess Margaret Hospital. And so, as the Prime Minister earlier stated, that really and truly the police force was very challenged, both as it relates to search and recovery and dealing with the massive looting. But we now have situation under control. We have our regional forces here, and they are assisting us very well in that regard. And so I will now yield to Mr. Valerie, who can give an overview on the crime situation. You taking questions now, or you taking questions after everybody speak? Yeah, thank you very much. Mr. Valerie.
Good morning. Let me recognize the presence of the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Roseau, other gazetted officers, Chief of Police, and other gazetted officers of the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force, the media, other distinguished guests. Good morning. Following the passage of Hurricane Maria, the police has been active in responding to the security concerns around Dominica. The crime concerns emerged immensely when we got reports of massive looting in and around Roseau. Our response initially included getting to the various locations where the reports were made, and to a great extent cordon off those areas with the resources that were at our disposal. Several young men and ladies, we could call mobs, were seen around the city. Many of them were searching broken premises and looting from those premises, primarily business places. We were able to put the situation under some level of control and quell the problems that were emerging from the looting. Despite our repeated efforts, on many occasions, what we saw was that the mobs or the young men would turn from one location to the other. So even having arrested a number of them, some others would have eventually gone to other locations. But as I speak, this matter has been brought under control, and the police are patrolling the streets. The police are monitoring the situation, and with the assistance of the foreign police officers that we have on island, it is making it much easier for us as we continue to do our duties in this respect. It is sad to say that the behavior of our young people suggests that we need to understand that we are doing destruction to our own survival, because the police needs to be outside assisting in the recovery process. There were people who were injured, there were people who died and had to be found and brought into areas of safety. But we had been hampered, we had been distracted by the behavior of many of the young people in and around Roseau. At this stage, we can say that we have arrested a number of persons, as indicated by the Chief of Police. A number of persons have been arrested for looting, and a number of persons have been arrested for violation of the curfew order. And we want to sound a clear warning to those people who are taking the curfew order lightly. The curfew order recommends that people are inside at 4 o'clock. 4 p.m. must not catch anybody, any resident on the streets. At 4 p.m., residents must be at their houses, at their homes. When the police patrols the streets and finds anybody outside without a permit to be on the streets, they will be arrested. Regardless to what it is, you will be arrested if you do not have a permit. The permit has to be obtained from the Chief of Police. So persons are expected to come to police headquarters and request a permit, indicating the need to be outside after 4 o'clock. And they must remain inside until 8 o'clock in the morning. So at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, 7:30 in the morning, you are found outside on the street without a permit from the Chief of Police, you will be arrested for being in violation of the curfew order. And so, we as the police will continue to do our best to ensure that during this recovery process, crime is minimized as much as possible. And we want to appeal to the public to work with us, to support us. We will respond to any report that we get as it relates to criminal activities in anywhere around Roseau or Dominica. And we ask that you, the public, inform us on whatever suspicions that you have so that we could together work to build the recovery of this country. I thank you.
All right. The Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit, PS, Ministry of Public Works, Chief of Police, Deputy Chief of Police, gazetted officers, members of the media, good morning. I will speak primarily in relation to operations. As the Chief of Police said, Superintendent Valentine, and I'm responsible for central and also operations in the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force. And so operations play a significant role in situations like this. We are now in the response phase. So our operational order is focused on response to the effect of Hurricane Maria. And embedded in the national plan, I'll just outline some of those responsibilities. And that is a general responsibility. This one, the first one, is a general responsibility, and that is protection of life and property and to prevent vandalism. Control of traffic to and from emergency areas and hospitals. Evacuation of buildings where necessary. Security of our shores. Security of government buildings. Security of relief and emergency supplies, among other things. I can go on and on and on. Having said that, therefore, our operational plan was designed to provide assistance to address concerns in those areas. And after the passage of Hurricane Maria, we conducted a number of operations. And for those of you even remember last week, we shut down the city of Roseau for 48 hours. And that was in an effort to expedite the cleaning process and to bring Roseau to some level of normalcy. And that is not all. We have to provide security for relief supplies by sea, by land, and by air. And that is with respect to transportation. We have to provide security at all distribution centers within the Commonwealth of Dominica. We have to provide security at all government buildings within the country. We also have to ensure that we have a team of officers to investigate crimes, because none of the other duties of the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force is suspended. So you can well imagine our task in situations like this. Immigration duty continues, traffic duty continues, key point security continues. That is why within the region, the RSS, obviously in situations like these, will come to the assistance of the affected country, and in this case, Dominica. And so we remain resolute, and that operation order, I must say, occasionally a number of things will be added based on the situation on the ground. So I will not delve too much into the looting and acts of vandalism, but what I will say is that from an operational standpoint, the acts of vandalism and looting must stop. And the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force will take all lawful means to ensure that that is so. Because I'm of the opinion that is just malicious. Some of the things that happen in Roseau in respect to loot is just malicious. And we can't allow that to continue. It has to stop. And so, as was said before already, all our ports of entries are secured, so persons overseas have no fear. You can come to Dominica by day and by night once the port of entry is open. So I have no fear. I would also want to appeal to Dominicans to be patient. It's not normal times. Under normal circumstances, we would have traffic issues in Roseau in relation to congestion. So if you expect not to have congestion now, you're on another planet. So all we're asking is so that you be patient with the security forces. We're here to assist. All of us are affected. We are all in this together. It's one country. One Calypsonian says one flag, Dominica. And let us put our hands and energies to the wheel and bring back Dominica. As is often said, we're going to build back better. Thank you very much.
I'd like to acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Skerritt, the Chief of Police, other gazetted officers, the media. Good morning. I am Superintendent Joseph Williams, responsible for the Northern Division. The Northern Division spans from the Cardinal Territory all the way to Curfew. And we manage 7 police stations in that area. As our standard operation procedures would require, before such incidents, before such disasters, our officers are required to report for duty. And the majority of our officers in the Northern Division did report for duty by 8 o'clock on Monday. And we were available to police the events before the storm, as long as it was safe to do so, during the storm of the hurricane, and after the hurricane. After the hurricane, there were many more challenges, in that we had a few incidents of looting, flooding. Between 95 and 97% of the roofs had gone. We had a lot of homeless persons who were on the streets. And so, but we were able to establish control very early. We had incidents where young men were on the streets with machetes and knives and looking for opportunities to steal. And what was most alarming about it is even buildings that were not compromised or destroyed, you found that they were actually breaking into these buildings and not necessarily looking for food, you know. But when you consider the fact that they were looking for consumable durables like television sets and bicycles, and that was criminal. That was what really concerned us the most. So we were able to exercise control. We established a number of key points that we thought were necessary to bring things under control. For example, we established security at Roseau University. We identified these areas, the hospital, the three fuel stations in Portsmouth, the Fort Shirley, the banks, Dexia, Whitchurch, Domlec, Sugarloaf area, the Prime Minister's residence in Vekas, the Chief of Police residence in Vekas. We were able to establish some level of security in those areas. And we had 24-hour patrols were ongoing in these areas. I was able to drive to the Cardinal territory on Saturday to see what was happening in relation to my officers down there. And despite the difficulties themselves, because inside the Cardinal territory, their roofs had gone. In Marigot as well, their roofs had gone. In Wesley, their roofs had gone. And also in Portsmouth. But thankfully in Portsmouth, we were already relocated because of ongoing repairs to the Portsmouth police station. But that notwithstanding, the morale is high. The men are vigilant, they're working, and we are undaunted. Okay, so basically things are under control. We have a very active disaster management committee in the North. And I want to commend persons like Cynthia Wenham and the PAL rep, and you know, we were very active going around the shelters, the four established shelters in Portsmouth, ensuring that the vulnerable is taken care of. In fact, we were able, through the committee, to discuss with their business owners who had limited supplies of food to ensure that they kept a certain amount of food available for those who are most vulnerable. We did that. We were able to ensure that they were safe. In terms of transportation, fuel, we were able to take control of the fuel supplies, the limited fuel supplies that were available, because we felt it was more necessary, it was necessary to have the essential services, the law enforcement, the heavy equipment, to make this supply available to them so they can function, to bring things back to normal. So in terms of the ports, the ports are working. At Longhouse, we have officers there. Distribution of food had begun. They began packaging those food supplies to residents. In terms of water, in Glanvilla, for example, water was restored to many homes in Glanvilla and Portsmouth. So you have the local operators of Dawasco going about, opening the water and ensuring that where the breakages, they're restored. So pretty much we are doing, I would say, fairly well in Northern Division. And we are continuing to monitor and work very closely with the committee. Thank you very much.
Good morning. I also would like to recognize the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit, the PS in the Ministry of Public Works and Communication, a very important ministry at this time. Our Chief of Police, key figure at this time of disaster, and the Deputy Chief of Police and other gazetted officer. I also want to recognize the Deputy Chief of Police, Dominican, of the Royal Antigua and Barbuda Police Force. And also the media and not forgetting Honorable Minister McIntyre. My responsibility here now has been minimized due to the information that is now available to the public. In case you do not know, my name is Cleville Mills. I'm the acting superintendent responsible for the Southern Division, taken from where Superintendent Northern Division has left off, apart from the Central Division, which is located in Roseau. There are 10 stations in the Southern Division. We all were hit hard, not only in the Southern Division, but I'm talking on behalf of the Southern Division. You heard it, the Chief of Police said the number of deaths and persons missing in the Southern Division, especially in Point Michel. We had the highest number of deaths and persons missing. This has been a very great concern. We also had the challenge of having to bury people even before proper arrangements could be made under the situation. As a matter of fact, while I am in charge of the Southern Division, but I'm based in the Central Division, that is Roseau, and I was assisting in the Central Division on duty when I had the very sad occasion to see two vehicles from the Northeastern Funeral Association having to be assisted to clear the way so that they could travel to the public cemetery to bury bodies that were decomposing, and they could not even wait on the family. They had to notify them after they were buried so that they can know where they were buried. So these are the things that we have experienced under this hurricane. In the Southern Division, I remember trying to reach my stations on the Tuesday. It was just not possible. I reached as far as St. Joseph. Cooley Street and Salisbury were cut off at the time. As we are now aware that we have access up to Portsmouth. Sad for us, based again on the information that you have, that Point Michel and Soufriere have been cut off. And also Soufriere have been cut off from Scott's Head. But based on the information that I have, I know that the men, they are dedicated and they're working hand in hand with the communities to bring relief as far as possible to the people that they serve. I know for a fact that there's a very active disaster preparedness committee in La Plaine and in Delis, and they are working together with the police to bring that assistance to the people of the district. One of the biggest incidents that we had was the looting at one of the biggest warehouses in Dominica. That's the Fine Food warehouse. And to make matters worse, I think the owners were hit by a serious propaganda. Persons that we know that would not normally even go to a supermarket and loot, they had the information that he invited them to loot. So, not to loot, but he invited them to come and take. So, he got it in two ways. He got it from people, meaning people who mean no harm, and we could see there were really criminal elements in that. I feel sorry for him, and I really want to apologize because it is something that went out of control. People use the disaster and means of propaganda to cause people to make his loss much greater than it would have been. I also want to take the opportunity to appeal to the citizens that there's no reason for looting. We heard what the Prime Minister said about the amount of supplies that are available. not even a humanitarian reason that's the best defense I could think of somebody could have for looting. Not condoning it, but there's absolutely, to me, looting now is even more criminalized under the circumstances. And I would also urge the public to cooperate with the authorities, because the more cooperation that we have, the easier it is that we can get the supply to the people who need it. And with calm, it will help us to bring normalcy quicker. And I would also like to urge the people to also try their best to assist in the clearing up. Because as you notice, with the clearing up, it makes communication much easier for all of us. And I just call on Dominicans to come together. We are all hit by a massive hurricane. I'm reminded, seeing people fall down, and when you fall, you have to take some time to shake yourself. I think we are shaking ourselves. I know it is the time for us to really rise and to build. And in rising and building, I think we'll focus on being good citizens and persons who will cooperate with the authorities. I thank you.
I acknowledge the presence of the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica, the Chief of Police, other members of the government, senior officers, the media. My name is Atlee Rodney. I'm the Deputy Commissioner of Police in the Royal Police Force of Antigua and Barbuda. But presently, I am the commander of the RSS contingent operating in Dominica. As mentioned earlier, I am Dominican by birth. I am the child of Savanpai. I was born in the village of Savanpai, educated from the northern section, and then went to Antigua. The regional security system is a 7-member state organization that is responsible for security in the OECS and Barbados. Our simple motto is strength in unity. And over the years, we have conducted training in the form of trade winds and other forms of training where we prepare for times like this. Prior to yesterday, there was a small contingent coming to Dominica. But in recent time, we have augmented the numbers, and as we speak now, and even from last night, the Chief of Police, I gave him some numbers, that has increased now. So under the auspices of the RSS, which includes the OECS member states and Barbados, we have a total of 124 now. That comprise police officers from Antigua as myself. We have from Barbados Police Force, Grenada Police Force, St. Lucia Police Force, and then we have from Barbados Defense Force. As he indicated earlier on, this afternoon we will have an additional 15 officers from the St. Vincent Grenadines Police Force. Also on island, we have a contingent from CDIMA CDRU team, that is the CARICOM Disaster Relief Unit, and we have a number of 21 persons. CDIMA cover the wider CARICOM states. So we have officers from Guyana, from Trinidad, and the other members of the OECS. Including that, we have the Barbados Coast Guard, which is providing transportation support for us, but also logistic support and some engineers. Our mandate here is threefold. We will assist in the security issues that it is present. We will assist in management of relief supply. And based on the skill set within our units, we will provide engineering assistance. That means we will be doing some construction and reconstruction. So these are the three areas the regional security forces can provide assistance to the Commonwealth of Dominica. Outside of the regional security system, countries like Trinidad is providing support, as was indicated by the Chief of Police, and with their 60 personnel on the ground, they are giving us that type of support. Later today, we are expecting 40 Jamaican soldiers to join us, and then there's an additional which might come up to a number of 100 plus Jamaican soldiers. all in an effort to assist the local authorities with security and engineering skills, because the Jamaicans who are coming are engineers, so they can provide construction and reconstruction needs that might be presented. The executive director of the regional security system made a visit here, and he's very much committed to the task at hand. I spoke to him late last night, and he's committed to provide additional help if need be. So as we assess the situation as we go day by day, if there is need for additional officers across the region, that request will be made. We know the challenges, and I am also very much attached to this country, as you know, so I'm very much committed to the task. All the personnel under my command has been spoken to, and I can sense the motivation and the high moral among them. So I want to assure the Chief of Police and the people of Dominica that the members of the RSS contingent is committed to the task. It is not the first time we have to operate in situations like that. Some of us were here in 2015, and some of us went to Haiti recently last year. So there's persons who are experienced in dealing with disasters, and they are committed to the task. So we want to assure the Prime Minister and the people of Dominica that we are willing to work. We will work long hours, and we'll do all in our effort to stabilize the country. Security is our concern. Even when we heard of the incident last night at the prison, myself and a team was up there up to 1 o'clock this morning assessing the situation, and I will be speaking to the chief as to how we go forward in providing some assistance, both with security and reconstruction of some of the areas that we saw that was compromised. So once again, we are here to provide the help. We are here to work as long as it takes to make Dominica that peaceful country that it ought to be and it used to be. We will call upon the citizens to give us all the support. And as we say in Dominica, we proudly say in Dominica, we have a community day of service. This is a community month of service. So I call on all Dominicans to put their hands forward and let us play our part to restore this land. It is a beautiful island, and we have all what it takes to make it what it is, a beautiful island. So once again, I just want to stress the commitment of the regional security system and the other regional forces that are here, Trinidad, Jamaica, and Guyana, in their different capacity as we come together. The motto of RSS, strength to unity. So let us stay united, and let us bring restoration and a calmness to the Commonwealth of Dominica. Thank you very much, Mr. Prime Minister.
Thank you very much. We thought it was necessary to give a comprehensive report on the state of security of the country, so that not only those of us who are resident in Dominica can have an appreciation for the security of the state, but those of you who live out of Dominica can be reassured that the security state is intact. There were some incidents, and we have put them in place. And I saw the police in action last night when we got word that there was going to be a break-in at the prisons. And the efficiency of the movement of the police last night was exceptional. I was able to witness it myself. I was still at the office last night. It would have been after 8 or so, thereabout. And we have been able to apprehend 2 of the 3. And I have 2 of the 4. I have no doubt we will capture the 2 others before night falls today. Just to say to the country, we will have a daily briefing at 10 a.m. every day to update you and to provide information to the general public on the relief efforts and the various communities, and possibly at 7 p.m. at night. I don't want to commit to 7 p.m. at night, but certainly the 10 a.m. And we will bring in different personnel who are in charge of various aspects of the recovery efforts to update us on where we are with regards to this, regards to our response to the hurricane. The names of the deceased and missing will be posted, if not today, certainly by tomorrow, so that those of us who want to know who are the deceased and who are the missing people can have that information. And I'm sure that information will cause many of us to be less anxious in respect to our relatives and friends. We're saddened by the loss of life, but the extent of the destruction of this country, we're very, very fortunate that we do not have hundreds, if not thousands, of deaths in this country. Very, very fortunate. So while we are saddened by the loss of life, we want to thank God for sparing so many of our citizens. I want to say to the country and to the rest of you who are listening to us that every single community, every single family, every single home, every single street in Dominica will be reached by the authorities in providing supplies to them. Our clear instruction is for the equitable, non-discriminatory distribution of supplies. That is the instruction. Once we can take care of the entire communities, we will, in the same way, we will send personnel to the homes of the senior citizens to ensure that those who cannot come to the central point of distribution are receiving. And you heard what has happened in Portsmouth, and the same is happening in many communities where the residents are reaching out to the sick, reaching out to the elderly, and ensuring that they have water and they have supplies. So once you let us know somebody who hasn't received, we will gather information, and we assure you we will send the people out to get those really full. So we are continuing the assault today on providing supplies. We have lots of supplies coming in today and tomorrow and the rest of the week, and as we get them, we're not going to store them. The instructions from myself is do not store any food at this stage. We need to get food to the people and water throughout the day and throughout the week. I want to reiterate to the country that we will not tolerate any kind of lawlessness whatsoever. Any kind of lawlessness whatsoever. We need to minimize on this to allow the police to assist in bringing relief supplies to the various communities. So that's what we really want to have the police provide. In respect to the curfew is from 4 p.m. to 8 a.m. next day. We will review the curfew as we go. On this matter, I will be advised exclusively by the Chief of Police and the commander of the RSS forces here, who will advise myself on the curfew hours. Whatever advice they provide to me, I will provide that advice to His Excellency the President, who will make the appropriate adjustments where necessary. But that matter is exclusively in the purview of the Chief of Police, who has the responsibility of overseeing the security of the state. So we will rely on them to advise us on this. The curfew can go away tomorrow, next day, once people behave themselves. Once we get a sense people behaving themselves, it will be lifted immediately. We really do not want to have a curfew on because we like people to be out cleaning and helping and so forth, but we have issues to deal with and so forth. Tomorrow, we received the visit of the President of the Regional Council, Mr. Marijan from Martinique. He came to visit us on Thursday, along with a number of personnel he brought in to assist, and also supplies. We want to thank him for his visit. Tomorrow, we shall receive the visit. We shall receive the Chairman of CARICOM, Prime Minister of Grenada, Dr. Keith Mitchell, and also the Prime Minister of Barbuda, who will come visit us to express their solidarity and sympathies with us and so forth. These visits are important. We welcome them because it adds to the hope and the calmness of the people that we're not alone in this struggle. We have friends near and far who are prepared, who are assisting us, and who continue to do so. We have ordered a galvanized rolling machine to come in. Hopefully it will be there by the end of the week, thereabout, to assist with rolling out sheets of galvanized to help people cover their homes, albeit in a temporary fashion, because a lot of the homes will require some structural assessment to ascertain the structural soundness of the buildings. But we need to address the issue of shelter, and if we can create that kind of temporary arrangement, it will reduce on the anxiety of the people. So I'm hoping that we can get this machine by the end of the week and start rolling out galvanized sheeting to help people recover the homes as quickly as possible. We will also procure all of the building materials from the suppliers in Dominica to assist residents with 2x4s and 4x4s and nails and screws, so they can provide the labor and help themselves in providing temporary shelter. Carnival cruise lines have been exceptional. Royal Caribbean, all of the cruise lines calling in Dominica have been exceptional. They have made a commitment of 1,000 igloos. 1,000 igloos. That each igloo can house about 4 people, so you can place them in the communities where people can find a warm place to sleep, a dry place to sleep in a temporary fashion. We will get 150 on the 3rd of October. 150 of those on the 3rd of October, an additional 850 in the next week or so. That 850 is in the state of Georgia, and the Carnival cruises are seeking to get them across to Miami and then shipped to Dominica. So the 150 will be first on the 3rd of October, so we can pass it on to the various communities to assist with some comfort and away from the elements and so forth. But as I said again, just to repeat, yesterday, today, day after is a massive onslaught on distribution of supplies, and we have deployed teams to the port in Portsmouth. I sent the manager there this morning to ascertain that everything is in place. He will call in the security personnel. The police will assist us with security there. We have teams in Portsmouth who will assist with offloading and taking these supplies all the way to Capuchin and all the way to Calibishi, all the way to Penville, and all the way to Collyho, those northern communities. And then the supplies at Douglas Charles will go all the way to the Kalnago territory, to Cassie Bruce. So, we have planes going to Saint-Sauveur to take supplies to Saint-Sauveur and Petit-Soufrière, because Petit-Soufrière has some challenges there, and Good Hope. So we're taking supplies to Grand Bay, and that will be transported to Tetmon and Montine and all those communities, Pichelay. So we're really seeking to launch an offensive on this, and the supplies will come to Roseau will be for the western communities, Roseau, Point Michel, Soufrière. We're sending boats into Soufrière and Scottshead, and today we'll be sending quite a number of boats to Soufrière and Scottshead to bring in water and food supplies. So every community will be targeted. As I said, we have caused and allowed the Palestinians to be stationed in Marigot, and they're providing tremendous supplies. And the report that I have gotten from there is that people are really getting fed, people are getting supplies and water and the likes and so forth. All of the helicopters are assisting us from Venezuela, from government of Trinidad, the British, the French, the Dutch. They're helping us in a dramatic way, really, really helpful. These pilots, these operators are in this. There's a passion, there's a commitment to doing it. They're pushing the envelope, and ensuring that they can cover as many communities as possible during the day, and so forth. And so we're getting this. So once we can get electricity up in some communities, it will enhance our ability to address some of the concerns of the people. I want all of us to understand, and especially those out of the country, the entire country was hit. It is not only Roseau that was hit, and so we have the rest of the country to assist. It's not only Penville that was hit, or Portsmouth. Every single village, as a matter of fact, every single street in Dominica was impacted by this hurricane. And you have a situation where you do not have the full public service functional, because everybody's home got impacted in one way or the other. If your roof did not go, you got flooding. So everybody was impacted, from the president down to the homeless man was impacted. So everybody got impacted by this hurricane. And people are getting back. They have settled some things. They're able to get some clothes to put to dry, and so they can wear some clothes and so forth. We're all bathing from buckets with a cup, and you pour it over our heads and so forth. So all of us, myself too, I have a bucket and I take a cup and I pour over myself, and then I get a cowboy, what do you call a cowboy bath. So, I mean, so this is, but we're not complaining. We're not complaining. We have to do what we have to do in the circumstances. This is not a time to complain. It's a time for us to roll up our sleeves, pull our stocks up, recognize that this is not an 8 to 4 job anymore. It is a 24/7 job, and there's firm commitment from many people in this country who recognize that it's a 24/7 job. So we prepare to do that. So let us minimize or eradicate or stop any negative talk. We don't have time for any negative talk. If you have nothing good to say, nothing constructive to say, keep your mouth shut. Okay? Keep your mouth shut, or keep your fingers off these keypads. What we need is hope. What we need is inspiration. What we need are prayers. What we need is people to encourage us to move forward as a country, so we can rebuild our country and restore the lives of all of us who've been impacted by this. So I wish you all the best. You'll hear from us tomorrow at 10 a.m. God's willing. Hopefully you'll hear from us at 7 p.m. tonight, but we'll give you advance notice. Until such time, let us hold strong. Let us be united in purpose. Let us focus on what you can do, as small as it is. Everything will count, and everything will help in the restoration process. But there is a firm commitment from all of us to do what we have to do to rebuild our country. But we have to take it step by step. This is a daunting task. It is a humongous challenge. Okay, a humongous challenge. But I believe that once there is unity in purpose, once we remain positive, we can get things moving. So I want to thank the Chief of Police and the Deputy Commissioner of the Royal Antigua and Barbuda Police Force and the Gazette officers here, the media for your diligence, Dr. McIntyre who is here, P.S. Edwards, been diligent, and all of the people who've been volunteering, the media, we thank you for passing information to the public, and all of us out there who are volunteering in one way or the other, people who are clearing the streets. I mean, for example, in Cochrane, the people restored the water themselves. Though we had a heavy equipment, but people were clearing, taking out the logs. And that's what we want. That's what we want. If we have that, we're going to go places. We heard what happened in Portsmouth. People came forward. The police, the PAL rep, the volunteers, residents came forward, restored the water in Glanville, got water to the senior citizens, got packages to the senior citizens and children. So this is what we have to do to move the country forward. I will give the media an opportunity to ask a few questions, because we have to go out in the field to do the work and so forth. So 5 minutes for questions, and we'll move it forward. Keep your question very short, 1 question per person, no statement.
PM, I have 2. One question. All right, PM, I know it's a little bit premature, but can you provide us with a dollar value on the damages?
What we have done is that I have invited the World Bank and the Caribbean Development Bank and UN ECLAC, in conjunction with the OECS Commission, to come in to do independent assessments. So these teams are here, some of them are on the way. They will do an independent assessment, and they will advise the government and indeed the world of the impact of this hurricane on our country. But I can say to you, as you know, you've seen, and I've seen the entire country, I've been to many communities. Yeah, I mean, it's a devastating thing. As I said, 100% of our agriculture gone. And in respect to agriculture, I can tell you, as of next week, I want people to start planting. We're going to start planting. We're going to start harvesting some of the banana plants that survive. Let us get back. We'll provide you with support. So we're going to order seedlings and seeds for farmers. Let's plant peas. Let's plant cucumbers. Let's plant lettuce and the short-term crops, so we can start feeding ourselves with the important crops and so on. So we're going to start planting almost immediately from next week, once we can get the supplies out and people can address their shelters temporarily. Okay, one question.
Yes, Prime Minister, there's been some concern and conflicting information about people's ability to send personal items to their family. Please provide some clarity.
We have absolutely no difficulty for family and friends overseas to send supplies to family and friends in Dominica. We have no problem with that. As a matter of fact, we're encouraging it. What we're saying to everybody, let us wait for some time, because we do not have the infrastructure in place at the ports to deal with the individual packages, because you need customs to clear it. You need the port to clear it. And to have 500-600 people at the port trying to get a little package here and there is going to create a confusion and it's going to be chaotic. And the worst thing I want, because, I mean, you know Dominicans very well. I mean, we have to joke of ourselves when we speak and so on. The worst thing I want is for somebody to stay in America and say, well, somebody steal my package in Dominica, I sent for my mother and so forth. So I'm saying this week it is for national relief efforts. It is about everybody. So if you're sending a package, you send it to the Office of Disaster Management, attention Fitzroy Pascal, or the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of National Security. So later on, we will inform the world when you can start sending the packages. The customs officers are coming back to work slowly. Some of them are at work now. We have the port officers come back at work. You know, so once we get people on their feet, people have gotten over the shock that all of us have suffered, and people know where the children are sleeping and it's dry, then we can start receiving those private packages. So let's understand this and be patient and be understanding that we will accept private packages, but not now. If it comes, we cannot guarantee you that we will get it to your relative. It may just stay on the port, or it may, so I don't want anybody to accuse us, because in this disaster there'll be a lot of pointing of supplies and who didn't get and who got, and so our view is this: let's focus on the delivery of supplies to the nation of Dominica, and then we can deal with the private supplies of it. Yeah, one question. Next, Fadul, please.
Minister, my question is not to you, but more to the police officials. In terms of traffic, I wanted to ask the police officials whether or not they found it prudent to still allow traffic to come into the city, because we experienced some serious congestion coming in.
What we have said to the public, we do not want to unduly curtail the movement of people, because we understand somebody may come from Mao, he has a relative in Point Michel, he wants to go and see what happened to that relative. Somebody may live in the valley, he has somebody in Fokoli, you want to go and see. So we understand these things. What we're saying to people, that if you have no business driving around, stop the driving. Not only that, but we use the little diesel that you have in your vehicle wisely. Go in and drive around sightseeing, and then your vehicle gets stalled in Roseau. It doesn't make sense, because we have had situations where we cannot get essential services out to meet people who are in desperate need of help, because there are too many vehicles and too many people on the streets. What we should be doing now, if we have no business being out of our communities, is clearing the roads, to get our cutlasses, cut the branches, put them on the side. We will send people to pick them up. Get the galvanized, put them in one section. Get the wood, put them in one section. We will get those equipment to come in and take them. Because in respect to the alu zinc and the galvanized, we have a machine in Dominica that can crush this galvanized to almost the size of a cotton 15. So that we'll put it on a badge and ship it out for recycling purposes and so forth. And so we'll have one location. We will announce these locations, hopefully today or tomorrow, where people will take them, and the machine will come in to crush these galvanized and alu zinc for us and so forth. So things are happening. You may not hear of it, because really we do not have time to talk. We have to be out there getting things going. But we felt it necessary to keep you abreast with information and let you know what's happening. So I want to thank the police for your efforts, and thank all of the people who have been public servants and the private sector people. Let us ensure that we can manage our anxieties, keep things calm, and so forth. In respect to dialysis, for example, we had put on an appeal for dialysis. Somebody heard us, and they have sent us some solar-powered dialysis machines. So people are getting the dialysis treatment in Dominica. So a lot of things are happening. A lot of positive things are happening in response to the hurricane and reaching out to the needs of our people. Thank you, and God bless all our people. God bless our nation. It is now time for working together. It is time for us to clean up and to rebuild our country. And I am confident, with the help of God, with the help of our people, and with the help of the regional and international communities, Dominica shall rise again. Thank you.